Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to show you how to crochet this little hat with a little ribbon. Now I have made this big ribbon especially for my daughter. All the other hats just have a little tie bow right here. So we will be making the size that you want. I have sizes from newborn up to 10 years. So this is the biggest size. I made this for my 7-year-old daughter, which picked the colors, and this falls into the category, the size category from 6 to 10 years. So this is the biggest one. I have a slightly smaller one. This is a size 3 to 5 years. So a little denim in fine cotton with a tiny little bow like this. Looks really cute. And the next one, again, it is a little jeans yarn cotton that I have here. It is for size 1 to 2 years, and the smallest one that I have not even put a ribbon yet. This is for 6 to 12 months, and this is again just fine weight yarn, a mix of cotton and acrylic, so size is not a problem. Now if you got interested to making one of these hats, let's go on and have a look of what we are going to need for this project. To make this hat, we are going to need a small needle. This is not the smallest one that I have, like for thread. This is for hiding tails with yarn, but it is really quite small to compare to my other ones. We're going to need scissors, measuring tape, ribbon. Now that is for this part right here, which is for the purpose of looking nice, plus it actually gets the size a little bit more accurate. So get some ribbon, about 70 to 80 centimeters of it. Now for this time when I'm making this hat, this is going to be for my daughter, and I have made this yesterday for her. She wanted a pink bow, so I have about 70 or 80 centimeters of this ribbon with a little bow, and it is about 1 centimeter wide. So whatever color you choose, completely up to you, just have some ribbon. Next up is the hook. So I have a 3mm hook which is going to match the yarn. I will be using Summer Baby or Baby Summer from Ice Yarns. You don't have to use this yarn. Use whatever fine yarn that you have. This is a mix of, yes, cotton and acrylic. It's a 50-gram skein, 160 meters in it, and it recommends a 3mm hook. Now you check your yarn. It might be recommending a bigger hook, so you just use the hook that is recommended. Okay, so I have 2 colors. Now you can make it in one color, it does not matter. This is going to be my main hat, and this is going to be the brim. So I have already used this when I was making my little dress, so I'm just gonna use my leftovers. And you're going to need about 50 grams in total of yarn, so one of this would make a hat. But as I want to use 2 colors, I will only need about 38 grams of main color, and then about 10 grams of the white to finish it off. Okay, so we have talked about all of that. I'm just gonna quickly show you my chart. This is the one that I'm going to use. If you are not happy with this, you can just find your own one. There's loads of charts on Pinterest or Google, whatever. Do your research and you can find it. This is the one that I use for hats. And we're gonna have sizes from 0 to 3, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 to 5, 6 to 10. I will be making it in 6 to 10 years. If more specific, I will be making it for a 7-year-old. So I will be using all of these numbers. Okay, so let's grab our yarn and get started on our little hat. grab your yarn, your hook, and let's start with a magic circle. Now, not everybody will be familiar with it, so I will show you how I do this, but there's loads of videos. Perhaps somebody is better at explaining it rather than me. Okay, but this is how I do it. So I leave the tail in the palm of my hand. So this is the end of the yarn. And then I twist the yarn around my 2 fingers and cross it like this. Then I put my hook in between the 2 fingers, catch the yarn that is further away, and pull it out and twist. Now I carefully take it off my fingers, and you have this little circle right here, and I chain 2. 1 and 2, and voila, I have a magic circle. Let me show you again. Put the tail in your palm, in the palm of your hand, twist it around the 2 fingers, cross it, hook in between those 2 fingers, catch the yarn, pull it out and twist, take this off, and chain 2. 1 and 2, and we're ready for row 1. Okay, so for row 1 we want to have 12 double crochets. The chain 2 does not count as anything. It will not count through the whole circle that we will be making. It will just be filling in a little hole. Okay, so you start with chain 2, excuse me, and it does not count as anything. You're gonna yarn over and start making your 12 double crochets in the middle of the circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and my very last one, 12. Now I'm gonna catch that little tail and just pull tight on it, and there we go. The circle has closed. Now to join, we're gonna look for the very first stitch on the top right here. So this one, there's the chain 2, chain 1, chain 2. We're gonna skip over that and find the very first stitch on the top, and we slip stitch into that stitch. Now we're gonna chain 2 again, 1 and 2. This is our second row. Chain 2 again doesn't count as a stitch, and we're gonna put a double crochet right in front of that, just right in front of that chain 2 into the same stitch, and then we will continue making 2 double crochets into each stitch. So find your next stitch and make 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Next stitch, again 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Next one, again 2 double crochets, and we keep going until we will finish this row. And you should have 24 double crochets at the end of this row. Okay, so I have one more stitch right here. I'm gonna make 2 double crochets in there, and we will always finish a row in the slip stitch right next to the chain 2, so right there underneath. This is the slip stitch from previous row. We will always be putting a double crochet in there, because as we do not count the chain 2, there's a double crochet before, and we put the second one because this is always going to be an increase where we start. We just finish off the increase at the end of the row into the slip stitch, like this. So again, we skip the chain 2, chain 1, chain 2, and find the very first stitch on the top. So that right here, like this. Okay, row 3. Now we're gonna chain 2 again, 1, 2, make a double crochet right in front, right into the same stitch where the chain 2 is. Again, remember, this is going to be an increase. We just finish off that increase into the slip stitch at the end of this row. Now we continue on into the next stitch. You make 1 double crochet. Into the next stitch, you make 2 double crochets. So we make an increase into every second stitch. Next stitch, 1 double crochet. Next stitch, 2 double crochets. Next is 1 double crochet, and then 2 double crochets. So you keep going all the way around, doing 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way around until you come to the end of this row. And at the end of row 3, you're going to put your very last stitch again into the slip stitch just before the 2 chains. At the end of this row, you should have 36 double crochets. Every row is going to add another 12 double crochets. So we had 12, 24, 36, then it will be 48, 60, 72, and so on, as we will be making the crown right here. Again, you're gonna skip the chain 2 and slip stitch into the very first stitch on the top. Now, if you find it difficult to find that first stitch up here, find your double crochet, the very first one. So this is the chain 2, and this is the double crochet, and your stitch will be a little bit to the right from double crochet. So double crochet, and it's a little bit to the right here, and join. Okay, row 4, chain 2, double crochet right in front of that chain 2, and now we're gonna have an increase in every third stitch. So the next 2 stitches get 1 double crochet each. So 1 into the next stitch, 1 double crochet. Into the third stitch we do 2 double crochets. That is an increase. Again, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and 2 double crochets. So all this row we will be doing 1, 1, 2. So that is 1, 1 and 2, which means 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And again, 1, 1 and 2, and keep going, and I'm gonna see you right here. And again, the very last stitch in row 4 is in that slip stitch right next to chain 2, which finishes our very first increase. So this and this stitch, they make up an increase. The chain 2 are just hiding the little hole. It's filling in a little hole that would have in between those two stitches. Again, find the very first stitch and slip stitch my first double crochet, and a little bit to the right of it, like this. Again, chain 2, make a double crochet right in front of that chain 1. Now in this row we are going to have our increases in every 4th stitch, so the next 3 stitches get 1 double crochet each. 1, 2, and 3. Stitch number 4 gets 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. Again, 1 stitch, 2nd and 3rd. Stitch number 4 gets an increase, so we make 2 double crochets. Again, 1, 1, 1, and 2 double crochets, and just keep going exactly like that. Again, don't forget the very last stitch into the slip stitch right next to the chain 2, and slip stitch into the very first stitch. Now you should have 12, 24, 36, 48, 60 double crochets in this row. Okay, so next is row number 6. Again, chain 2, double crochet right in front of that chain 2, and this time we are going to have an increase in every 5th stitch. So next 4 stitches get 1 double crochet each. 1, 2, 3, 4, and stitch number 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Stitch number 5 gets 2 double crochets. Again, next 4 stitches get 1 double crochet. So 1, oops, 2, 3, 4. Stitch number 5 gets 2 double crochets, and keep going. 4 stitches get 1 double crochet. Stitch number 5 gets 2 double crochets all the way around. And to finish row number 6, again, we don't forget the very last stitch. You should have 72 double crochets, and we slip stitch into the very first stitch. Now this is usually where about I start measuring the crown. Okay, let me get my measuring tape. So my little circle, the diameter of my little circle at this point measures about 12 centimeters. Now if I look on this chart, this is enough for the 0 to 3 months size. So if you're making this size and it measures about 12 to 13 centimeters in diameter, this is where you stop and you wait until I start making the pattern, because the pattern will be the same for everyone. You're just gonna have less V-stitches than me because I'm making a bigger crown. Okay, so if you're happy with that and this is the size that you're making, you stop and you wait until I'm finished with my crown. For those who need to go more, which is me, we start row number 7. We're going to chain 2. We're going to make a double crochet right in front of that chain 2, and again, so we had 1, 2, 3, 4 into every 5th stitch, so we are going to have an increase in every 6th stitch. So the next 5 stitches get 1 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stitch number 6 gets 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. And again, next 5 stitches get 1 double crochet each. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Stitch number 6 gets 2 double crochets, so an increase. And keep doing this, the same thing all the way around. Very last stitch again is right before that chain 2. And slip stitch into the very first stitch. So at the end of row 7 we should have 84 double crochets, and I'm gonna quickly measure again. So it measures 14 centimeters in diameter, so it would fit this size, so the 3 to 6 month size, and the 6 to 12 months size. That would be enough. So for the bigger sizes we keep going, and this is row number 8, so exactly the same. You're gonna chain 2, double crochet right in front of that, and now we are going to have an increase in every 7th stitch. So the next 7 stitches, next 6 stitches get 1 double crochet each. That is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and stitch number 7 gets 2 double crochets or an increase. And again, next 6 stitches get 1 double crochet each. Stitch number 7 gets an increase all the way around. At the end of this row we finish again in the slip stitch with a double crochet. We connect into the very first stitch, and we should have 96 double crochets at the end of this round. Now again, I'm gonna quickly measure. So it is, for me, it is 16 centimeters in diameter, or the crown. So that would fit, so this, and this. So 1 year, 2 years, and 3 to 5 years. Okay, so all these would be okay, and I would stop at this point, but I need 17 centimeters. It has to be measuring 17 or more. So I will do another row. If this is enough for you, you stop now and you wait until I will start doing the V stitches. But for me, 1 more row. So I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2, double crochet right in front of this, and now we should have an increase in every 8th stitch. So 7, next 7 stitches get 1 double crochet each. That is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Stitch number 8 gets an increase, which is 2 double crochets, and keep going every 8th stitch. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and stitch number 8 gets 2 double crochets. Continue on until you finish this round, and I'll see you right here. Okay, so I'm finishing my very last row. Make your double crochet if you are making it with me in the very last stitch, and connect with a slip stitch. Now this should be definitely enough for me. I'm looking for 17 centimeters. It's probably gonna be more than that. Yes, so it is about 18 centimeters in diameter, which is a little bit more than I need, but that is absolutely fine. That is why I have the little ribbon. Just if the hat is a little bit big, I can just tighten up the ribbon and it will fit beautifully. Okay, so now we are on to the main pattern of the hat, which will start with a row of V-stitches. So where you have finished off, now you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. You're gonna yarn over and make a double crochet in the stitch right in front of it, right there. You're gonna yarn over, you're gonna skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, into the 3rd stitch. You're gonna make a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet back into that same stitch. Yarn over, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, into the 3rd stitch, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Skip 2 into the 3rd, double, chain, and double. And keep going this way all the way around. If you had a smaller crown or the diameter that than I was making, you're gonna have less V-stitches than me, or you might have a lot just like me. So you go all the way around and the stitch count should be absolutely fine for you. So I'm going to meet you right here. So when you go, when you get to your very last V-stitch, again, I'm gonna skip 2 stitches, make a V-stitch, and I have 2 stitches left to my chain 3 right here. So 1 and 2. So they are nice. So they have the same distance all the way in between. Okay, so now we are going to connect this row into the second of those free chains that we had in the beginning. So first and second, we're gonna slip stitch. Now remember this, because this is going to be a repeat row. Okay, so you slip stitch into the middle of the next V-stitch, so right into the middle. You're going to chain 2 and you're going to turn your work. Now you will be on the inside of your hat. You make 1 double crochet in the same chain 1 space where your chain 2 is, but right in front of it. And then you continue making 3 double crochets in each chain 1 space of each V-stitch. So right here, 1 double crochet, 2, and 3. Find the next one, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Next chain 1 space, 1, 2, and 3. And continue on doing 3 double crochets into each chain 1 space until you get to the end of this row. Okay, so I am finishing up the little shell row with the 3 double crochets, and now again just remember how to finish this. Okay, so once you make your last 3 double crochets in your very last chain 1 space of the V-stitch, you're gonna go back into the very first one. So we have chain 2 right here and a double crochet, and we're gonna finish this off with a double crochet in that chain 1 space. So we have double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet. Now you are going to find that second chain, so chain 1 and chain 2 a little bit higher up, and you will slip stitch into that top chain. So as you can see, they all look the same now. Again, remember, this is the second repeat row. We're gonna do the V-stitches again. So you chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and you turn. You're gonna yarn over and make a double crochet back right under that chain 3 into that same stitch. Then you're gonna find the next 3 double crochets from previous row, and you're gonna make a V-stitch into the middle of those 3 stitches. So this is first, second, and third. So into the second of those ones or into the middle one, and make a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then the next one again into the middle stitch, double, chain, double. And keep going until you will finish this row. At the end of the repeat row 2 or the row with the V-stitches, you are gonna finish with a slip stitch into the second chain. So there's a free chain in there, so 1 and 2 into that second chain, and then you're gonna start the row with the 3 double crochets in every chain 1 space. Again, I will just give you a reminder of how that starts. So you slip stitch into the middle of that V-stitch, chain 2, and you have to turn your work. Double crochet right in front of those chains, the two chains, and then 3 double crochets into each chain 1 space, all the way around. And when you come back finishing off this row, you are gonna put in another double crochet right here at the just before those chain 2 to finish this little shell right here. And then again you're gonna keep switching those 2 rows up. Don't forget to turn your work, and now we just keep going until our hat will measure long enough. So this is the hat height. So I'm doing for a 7-year-old, so I need it to be 18 centimeters in length. Let me get there. Now there we go. I'll keep going until I have 18 centimeters in length, measuring from top down. So I'm at about 11 centimeters now, so this is where the end of the row. I'll keep going until it will be at 18 centimeters. Do not worry which row you end up on, if it's the V-stitch or the shell stitch, it does not matter. I will just see you once we have this length finished. So I have finished the main part of my hat. It measures, if you look up right here, so in length I'm looking for about 18 centimeters. I don't want to be it any longer than that, just place it nicely. And as you can see, I am at 18 centimeters in length. And if you want to check the head circumference, so you need to take a half of the measurement. So I'm gonna go for the bigger one because my crown was on the bigger side. So 54 centimeters I divide into 2 and I get 27. Now that is why a half, just because we are measuring a half. We are not gonna measure all the way around, we're just gonna measure from one side to another. And if I measure like this, I am at 27 centimeters exactly, plus it has a lot of stretch as well, which I'm not gonna stretch out. Okay, so to finish, so once you slip stitch, you're gonna chain 1 and cut your yarn, pull out the tail, and now we're on to the little brim. So that's where I'm changing colors. I am going for color white. Again, it doesn't matter what row you have finished on, you just continue on the outside of your hat. Make a slip knot. I like to leave slightly longer tails, they're easier to hide. So, and then you're just gonna connect wherever into any of the stitches. So as I am on a V-stitch row, I'm just gonna go right here. Chain 1, make a single crochet back into that same stitch, It's not focusing very well. Let me try. There we go. And then you will continue on with a single crochet into each stitch. So if you have little shells here, you're gonna have a single crochet in each stitch. If you have these stitches just like me, so you're gonna have chain one spaces where you put a single crochet. And then you just continue on with one single crochet into each stitch. You probably can hear the sirens. I live right next to a Garda station or a police station, which if you don't know that, police in Ireland are called the Garda, so something must be going on around here. Sorry about that. Okay, so keep on with a single crochet into each stitch. To finish the single crochet row, once you have crocheted into everything, you're going to find the very first stitch and slip stitch into that one. You're going to chain two. The chain two counts as a stitch, so you're going to yarn over and you're going to put a double crochet right next to it. We will see this as an increase, so it's kind of like you have two stitches in two double crochets in the same stitch. Then you're gonna have one double crochet and into the next stitch one double crochet, and then in an increase, so two double crochets into the third stitch. Again, one double crochet, one double crochet, and two double crochets. One, and two. I have a little knot. Okay, so I have one, and I need an increase, so two. And you continue on like this all around for this row. And I'm gonna see you right here at the end of this row. So I am finishing this double crochet row and I have to do an increase, and I have two stitches left, which is absolutely fine. I will do an increase here. If you end up doing an increase in the very last stitch before the chain two, just leave it, just do one double crochet right here. It will be too close, the two increases will be too close and it will be very wide up here. So we end up with at least one double crochet right here before the two increases, and now we are going to connect two into the second chain, so chain one and chain two, and make a slip stitch. Now you're gonna chain two and we're gonna start making front post double crochets and half double crochets. So yarn over, find the next double crochet after the chain and make a front post double crochet. So you don't turn your work, by the way, you just keep going around. Now the next, you're gonna yarn over, you're gonna find that stitch right next to the front post, sort of a little bit to the right of the next double crochet. So this is that, and the stitches to the right. Put your hook in there and make a half double crochet. Yarn over, skip that one stitch or the double crochet, around the next one make a front post double crochet. Next is a half double crochet, so that stitch right here, so the next double crochet and the stitch to the right of it gets a half double crochet. Yarn over, you skip one double crochet from the previous row, and around the next one you make a front post double crochet. Then again a half double crochet right next to this. You still end up, if you look from the other side, you still end up skipping one stitch. It's just because we're going the same way, we're not turning, our stitches are really close to each other. So just make sure that you don't do any more increasing. Again, we skip that, we make a front post around the next one, and then a half double crochet, so you're making a front post in every second double crochet from the previous row. Just like that. Okay, so a half double crochet and a front post, double crochet on to the next stitch, a half post, sorry, not a half post, half double, and then you get to skip because you make a half double over that double crochet, find the next one and make a front post, double crochet, then half double, again you skip one and front post, double crochet, and you continue doing that all the way around the brim. So the very last stitch that we want to do in this row is a front post, double crochet. Now because we did not count our stitches, you might end up doing a half double crochet over that very last stitch. Don't worry about that. You can just go on and do a front post double crochet on the chain two from the previous row, just like that, just so our pattern looks a little bit nicer, and then you connect into the second chain with a slip stitch. Now I end up having two front posts in a row, so I'm going to take that out. I've ended up correctly, and I just, so chain one and chain two, connect into the second chain. Now again, the next row starts with chain two, and we are going to now make front posts, front post double crochets there where our front post double crochets are from the previous row, and then a half double crochet on top of the half double crochet, which again will be a little bit to the right of the stitch. So this one right here, this stitch is from that front post, which we need to skip, but this is a half double crochet and this is the stitch for that, a little to the right. Okay, so we start with a front post, and then a half double crochet, front post, half double crochet, front, half, front, half, and keep going like this for the entire row, so you will be able to see the little lines forming where we have the front posts double crochets done. So keep going, and your last stitch finishing this row should be a front post double crochet. Connect with a slip stitch into the second chain, chain one and chain two, go into that chain and slip stitch. Okay, so one more row exactly the same way that we did now. So you're gonna chain two and straight start with a front post double crochet, and then half double, and oops, got tangled, and front post. So just as we did in the row before, like that. Continue around, and I'm going to see you right here. Now the last row with front post is finished. I am going to slip stitch into the chain 2, and I have one more row left, which I want to do a crab stitch so it looks nicer and the edge gets a little bit harder, so it keeps a nicer shape. Now a crab stitch got its name because you do it backwards. So normally I crochet, or everybody right-handed crochet from right to left. Now crab stitch goes from left to right, so you would be going backwards. Now I find this way making the crab stitch a little bit more difficult and slower, but if you're familiar how to do that going backwards, you can do that. It does not make any difference at all. I am just going to show you how I do it going forward, because you actually get the exact same look. Okay, so I'm gonna chain 1. I'm gonna go into the next into the stitch right beside it. I'm gonna catch my yarn, pull it out, so I have 2 loops on my hook, and now I'm gonna twist my hook around like this. I'm gonna yarn over and pull through the 2 loops. Go into the next stitch, put your hook in, catch a yarn, pull it out. You have 2 loops on your hook, twist it around, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. Into the next stitch, catch your yarn, pull it out, 2 loops, twist your hook, yarn over, and pull it out. And this is all there is to doing crab stitch going forward. I'm not even sure if I can remember how to do it going backward. This way I just find that it is so much easier and so much faster. Just remember that you twist your hook against the clock, so the back of the hook. Twist it all the way around. Now it can be a little bit hard in the beginning if you're not used to this stitch, especially if you are using cotton, because cotton is not very soft and not very stretchy. So try to make it a little bit looser if you can, if it is hard for you to pull through the 2 loops. And just like this, keep going until you have the whole edge finished. So I'm gonna see you right here. And here we are. Once you finish this row, you are just going to slip stitch like this, chain 1, and cut your yarn. So I like to leave a little longer tails. Again, it's a little bit easier for me to hide that way. Now pull that out. We're gonna hide those tails really quickly. The one that is really important is the very middle right here, because we have a magic ring. It doesn't have any knots, so it can just open back up. So get yourself a needle. Okay. Okay. Now you want to make a knot, so you kind of go from where the tail is, from bottom to where the tail is. Pull that out and keep the loop. Go in through the loop and pull tight, and there you go, you have a knot. Now it is not gonna get undone. Then I'm just gonna hide it around in the first row that I have made. Like this. I'm gonna go backwards so it's not coming out undone. And that is finished. I'm gonna cut my yarn. Now there's another few right here, so I have crocheted over the yellow, where is it? Right here. So I have crocheted over this, and I'm just gonna cut it off. I don't want to hide it any more than this. Then I have another white one, so the white one where I have connected to the hat, I'm just gonna hide in between the white single crochets. I'm gonna go one way and then back like this, and I'm gonna cut it off. And one more I have left is so right here, so the very last one that I have done, I'm just going to hide it in the chains right here. I'm gonna go towards the main part of the hat. Make sure that you don't pull it too much so the edge is nice and straight, and then I'm gonna come back down again towards the edge. And I'm done. All I have left to do is weave in the ribbon. Okay, so grab your ribbon. So I already have my little bow right here, but as you can see, it's I sort of put it in behind the bow, so I can adjust the length that I need. So you're gonna start at any place, or the place wherever you want the tie of the ribbon to be, and you're just gonna start weaving in between the V stitches or the shell stitches, depending on which stitch you have at the bottom of your hat. I'm just gonna go like this. I'm gonna skip the next one. Again, skip the next one. And just like that, all the way around the hat. Now once you got it all weaved in, so I kind of leave 2 or 3 V stitches in between, or the shells, it does not matter. Make sure that you leave enough tails to make a little bow right here, or as big bow as you want. I mean, if you want them hanging off the side of the hat, that is completely up to you. Just leave them a little bit longer. Now I'm gonna cut this off. This is a little too long for me. About right here. By the way, don't forget to burn off the ends. That is absolutely fine. And then you're ready to tie it. Now I have this bow in a way. I don't even know if it will work okay. I'm sure it will. Just make a little bow. I'm gonna hide it under the pink one, just like that. And my hat is finished. It looks exactly like this. Now you can see. I'm very happy with it. My daughter is very, very excited. And thank you very much for watching. I hope this hat worked out for you, and I will wish you all the best of luck, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!